Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Shay, and I am a risk adjustment coder slash auditor. And I've done many things in the risk adjustment coding world. And I basically started this channel to come on here and help those who are studying for the exam, those that don't know anything about risk adjustment, and why I feel like it's a great opportunity for entry-level coders. What else will I be doing on here? Day in a life, things like that, all things risk adjustment and coding. So just to give you guys, this would be my first video recording of this. So I'm going to give you guys my background. So I have been in risk adjustment for 9 years now. I started back in 2016, and how I got started, it actually kind of fell into my lap. I actually have my bachelor's in business administration. And so I worked all business jobs. Now in the background, I did want to do medical coding, but I had a lot of the same feelings that many people still have today, which is, oh man, you try to find a medical coding job and everybody wants experience. So it just happened that there was this lady who had a local company to me. She did risk adjustment coding contracts, meaning that she hired contractors to work for various companies during what we call risk adjustment coding season. So she had actually put this job out on Indeed. And at that time I was looking, but not looking. I think I was working part-time for a tech company working from home. And so basically what she was offering was that you would take the course, which was through her company, instructor led, but it was the AAP's risk adjustment coding material to study for the exam and everything. So we had to pay, for the course, pay for the books and all of that stuff. I think in total, it was like $700. It's a little bit more than that now, but at that time it was about $700 to $800. And you would take the instructor led course. You had to code 100 charts, which is not a part of everyone's normal process, but this was her process. So you go through the course, you have to pass the test, you do 100 practice charts, and then you would be offered a contract to work immediately. And so I decided to take the opportunity. I really didn't have the money. I actually went and took out a small loan. And of course I paid that back, and it's multiple times over. It ended up paying off. So I went through the course. I took the test the first time. I think the course was about 16 weeks, I believe. So I went and took the exam in July, and I did not pass on the first try. I actually ended up getting like a 67. But what she offered us was a free boot camp. So I went, looked at my domains and everything. I went through this boot camp. Then I went back a couple of weeks later, tested again, and I passed. And just like she stated, I was able to start working. So by that late September, beginning of October, I started training and working on a contract with her. So I was with that company for about 2 years. And so within that time period, I did actually work with her, on the admin side. So I did coding, and then I kind of moved over to admin side, doing things like coding assistant. I eventually became an instructor, and I also did auditing, all in the process of these 2 years. After that, I was ready to, kind of move on. So there's this hospital that's in my area, and I have been trying to work there for years that I could not get a job with. And that's why having connections with, your local AAPC, being in Facebook groups, things like that is something that I strongly suggest that you are, because you never know who you'll meet in there. So at one of our local AAPC meetings, I ended up meeting the director and the manager, and I made it my business to make sure they knew who I was and I knew who they were. And so about a year later, I actually went back to the manager, said, hey, I'm interested in coming to work for you all. They wanted me to have my CPC. At the time, I only had my CRC. So I went back. I did study for that. That was also instructor led. I went through a company called AMCI, which does still exist. They actually have a free YouTube course. So make sure you check them out if, that's a more cost effective thing for you. I think it's a really great course. And so anyway, after I passed that, I got the job with the hospital. Worked for them for a number of years. And just throughout my career, I've been a coder, an auditor, instructor. What else have I been? A business analyst. And now here I am, 9 years later. It's been a year that I've been in my current position, which is a clinical coding annotator. And, that's another reason why I wanted to come on here. Coding is not the only thing that you can do within this field. If you want to be able to make more money, now, if you're comfortable being a coder and that's what you want to do, that is absolutely fine. But if you're looking for higher pay, things like that, getting more certifications, that is one thing, but also moving into other positions It's really what's going to boost your income when it comes to the medical coding field, because you can get into, 60, 70, 80, even $100,000 per year plus six figures is not unheard of in medical coding if you have the right path, the right credentials, and the right experience. So again, on this channel, that's just a little bit about me. So I'm going to be doing, some mini boot camp type sessions to help those that are trying to study or did not pass and struggling with different things. I have found out from coders, what are you missing from the exam? And so I'm going to try to hone in on things like that and to help people to be able to pass the exam, specifically for the CRC. Now, I do have my CPC. However, when you're a risk adjustment coder, you don't deal with CPT codes, HCPCS, or, with inpatient, the PCS. You don't really do that. So those things I'm rusty on. So I'm actually going to be studying myself in those things to get better at that. And maybe later on down the line, that's something that I can help others with as well. So if you are not subscribed, please make sure that you do. And I will be uploading soon, some other videos, day in the life, going into more details on other careers that you can do in risk adjustment coding. But if you have any questions or suggestions or anything that you would like to see, let me know in the comments, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you for joining, and I will see you.